Best Screenplay and Best...
To come.
Indeed, and you know, this is the time of year where we see UConn play 2-3 times a week, so it looks like I'm going to have to dig out those track shoes and get ready for some action, I guess. The time has come to, shall I say, put up or shut your mouth. No more playing the weak sisters of the world. Tonight, the real season begins, Big East style. UConn hosting the new kids on the block, not the musical group, but Miami, the newest member of the conference. A team that hasn't got much in the way of respect, picked to finish last in this, their inaugural season.
We can't get so wrapped up into, what the media says, if people are coming out to see us, I mean, what kind of environment we have. We just have to worry about the things we can't control, and that's playing hard and trying to win basketball games.
Those who say we're going to finish at the bottom, that's only their opinion. They don't know what we have in our hearts and our ability to play during certain days.
The Hurricanes open the conference season with 5 Big East games in the next 12 days, including 4 on the road, starting with UConn tonight. Now, the Huskies are the 5th-ranked team in the nation and have found a unique way of competing against themselves. And it's the team's inner competitiveness that makes them a better team, better than UConn teams we've seen in the past. These guys don't compete to shoot the ball, they compete to rebound. And when they put you back in the game, I heard Rod screaming all the way on the other end of the court. Tell me about that.
Because we know first half we was tied in rebound, so second half we was going at it. And so when I went out, we figured it was about even. And then I went back, he didn't want me to go back. Because I'm like, man, this will be my rebound, And then when Coach called me to go in the game, I was like, no, call me. But, he put T in, and he got a couple more rebounds, I think.
As you can see, this is not your everyday, ordinary competition. It's gotten so bad that sometimes if you watch the bench, you'll see the guys begging the coach to let them go back in the game.
We want them, the big thing to lead the team in rebounding, and it's nice if guys want to have those kind of stats as opposed to scoring stats. And, we try and play up big to the kids because not everybody can be Chris Smith or Scotty Burrell.
And speaking of Scott, he was a part of this competition for rebounds when it first started, but he now claims that since he's a guard, he's no longer a big man, even though he stands at 6'7" tall.
So did you drop out or did they kick you out?
No, I'm not really dropped out yet. I'm seeing what's going to happen in a couple more games, and then I might drop out myself.
Don't let Scott fool you. He's the leader of the pack when it comes to competing. And as a team, you really can't complain about a team that's so focused on one goal, and that's winning. Tonight, they'll set out to prove that they can do it. Kind of an interesting thing and something to watch, kind of a game within a game. If you get a chance to go to a game this year, they really compete against each other during these games, not only the other team. You have to feel sorry, too, by the way, about Miami. They play UConn tonight. Next Tuesday, they play at St. John's. Then they're at Seton Hall on the 7th, and then they go to Syracuse on the 11th. So 4 straight road games.
Ooh, I'll bet they'll be happy to get back home.
I bet. Sunshine in Florida.
Yeah.
Now behind them, the UConn Huskies begin conference play tonight. They host Miami in their Big East opener. Ken Strayhorn joins us live from Gamble Pavilion in Stores. Ken, I hope Miami didn't bring the football players with them to play UConn.
You're right about that, Bob. They're big and they're strong. The basketball team, though, well, it's a little different. Tonight, UConn opens another season within the season for the basketball Huskies. They breezed through the month of December unbeaten and the 5th-ranked team in the country. Tonight, they open the Big East schedule. Both the players and the coaches say they're ready to rumble.
I think the team is coming along beautifully. The freshmen are coming along. They've been playing well, and we just mending together, and I think that's the key for the Big East.
Well, the veterans, they help us out a lot and stuff, and they try to tell us how it's going to be and stuff. But, like me, I know how the Big East is because I'm used to watching on TV and stuff. So I think really they're trying to help the people from out west that don't really get to see the Big East as much.
How well prepared we are to play the Big East, time will tell that. Last year we were 11-1 to start the season. I like this team. I think we have potential to be very, very good if our young kids can develop, because it's still the heart and soul is Sellers and Scotty and Smitty and Torino. And young kids have given us a good boost, Danielle particularly. But, if they can develop a little more, Bob, I think this could be a very interesting basketball team.
Bob, for a coach to say that this team could be interesting is really a milestone. If he would say that like a fan, what he would be saying is that this team has the potential to be one of the best that the University of Connecticut has ever seen. UConn and Miami have only met once in their history, Bob, and that was in the mid-50s. UConn won that one 74-70. Just a little trivia for you there, Bob. Ken Strayhorn reporting live on the Action Cam from Stores.
All right, Kenny, thank you very much. Enjoy the ball game, and we look forward to your report later tonight. By the way, tonight's game with Miami begins our live coverage of Husky Hoops this season. You can see it beginning tonight at 8. And we will also have the premiere of the Huskies Tonight, a special 15-minute recap tonight at 11:30 following Action News. That's right here on Channel 8. And also tonight, the Whalers host Quebec at the Civic Center. Highlights in...
Tonight's game features the Hurricanes from the University of Miami against the Huskies of the University of Connecticut. Tonight's Big East basketball is brought to you by US Air. Every time we fly, everything we do, US Air begins with you. By Buick and your local Buick dealers. Remember Buick, the new symbol for quality in America. By Sharp Electronics Corporation. From sharp minds come sharp products. And by Mr. Goodwrench, the GM expert at participating GM dealerships.
And by Pepsi-Cola Bottlers of Connecticut, ITT Hartford Insurance Group, and McDonald's.
Tonight in Gamble Pavilion, the Hurricanes of the University of Miami make their Big East basketball debut against the undefeated and 5th-ranked Huskies from the University of Connecticut. A very pleasant good evening. Welcome to UConn. I'm John Sanders. First order of business tonight, congratulations to the Canes for their 12-0 season, their AP National Championship, and the first ever Big East Football Championship. But tonight, we turn the page from football to basketball, and we also welcome Jim Spanarkel to our Big East Television Network. We get set for the basketball game here tonight, and certainly if you look at Miami, they are the elite of college football. But basketball-wise, they're still babies, and they look to the Big East and a program like UConn as to where they'd like to be down the road.
Yeah, and the thing about that, John, is the expectations can't be too high. It's going to be a struggle for them. Everybody's picking them at the bottom of the league for this particular season. But I think what they have to do is set their sights 2 and 3 years down the road and hope to reach that second plateau, maybe somewhere in the middle, and then work to become a Connecticut.
They are the newcomers in the league, as one of the Husky players said earlier in the week. I'm not sure of their names. I'm not sure what they look like. Well, he'll remember what Constantine Popa looks like because he's the biggest of the Hurricanes.
And at 7'3", he's hard to forget, and he's so intimidating with his size. Very important for him to utilize his skills down below in the paint area, come up with some rebounds, and maybe try to block a couple of shots against the Huskies.
And for you longtime Big East fans, yes, the old names, the veterans are here. Chris Smith of UConn is closing out his career with the Huskies, and before he's finished, he should be the school's all-time #1 scorer.
A terrific offensive scorer, we all know that, but I think the most important thing for him tonight is defensive pressure at the point guard position. He's going up against Michael Gardner to start tonight. They've had trouble, Gardner in particular, against defensive pressure, so it'll be interesting to see how well they do against the Husky pressure.
And both teams do use freshmen, a lot of first-year players both ways. I think the key, though, for UConn, they've got the veterans to bring those young players along. Miami doesn't have that luxury.
Yeah, the luxury of having that blend, being able to do that, make sure that Jim Calhoun, who does a terrific job, we all know how great a coach he is, but having that young talent to bring them along slowly, it takes a little bit of the pressure off.
We are set for the start of the Big East regular season for 1992. It's the debut of the Hurricanes as they take on the Huskies. We'll be back to meet the starting lineups for both teams from Storrs, Connecticut, after this word from your local station. Season tonight, the Hurricanes of Miami, their first ever go-around in conference play. They start a rugged 10-day, 4-game road trip. They are 5-5 as we get set to meet the starting lineups for both of these ball clubs tonight. And tonight's Kentucky Fried Chicken starting lineups. Nobody's cooking like today's KFC. And to bring you those starting lineups, our PA announcer is Roger Baker.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. And welcome to the Harry A. Gamble Pavilion and the start of the 1991-92 Big East Conference basketball schedule. The University of Connecticut would like to extend a special welcome to the newest Big East member, the University of Miami, as the Hurricanes play their first ever Big East contest tonight. And now the starting lineups for tonight's game between the Hurricanes of Miami and your number 5 nationally ranked University of Connecticut Huskies. Forward for Miami, a 6'8" junior from Houston, Texas, number 23, Hammy Ward. At forward for Connecticut, a 6'7" junior from Orlando, Florida, number 21, Torino Walker. At forward for Miami, a 6'3" junior from Miami, Florida, number 11, Trevor Burton. At forward for Connecticut, a 6'8.5" freshman from Reading, Pennsylvania, number 42, Danielle Marshall. At center for Miami, a 7'3" freshman from Bucharest, Romania, number 33, Constantine Popa. At center for Connecticut, a 6'9½" senior from Florence, South Carolina, number 22, co-captain Rod Sellers. At guard for Miami, a 5'11" freshman from Fredericksburg, Virginia, number 12, Michael Gardner. At guard for Connecticut, a 6'7" junior from Hamden, Connecticut, number 24, Scott Burrell. At guard for Miami, a 6'3" senior from Herndon, Virginia, number 44, Jerome Scott. At guard for Connecticut, a 6'2½" senior from Bridgeport, Connecticut, number 13, co-captain Chris Smith. Introducing the head coaches for the Hurricanes, Leonard Hamilton, and for the Huskies in his 6th year at Storrs, Jim Calhoun.
We are just about set for basketball. The Huskies and the Hurricanes. The curtain is about to go up on the Big East regular season for 1992. We'll have it after another word from your local station.
Okay.
And they're ready to start the regular season. How basketball has exploded at UConn under the leadership of Jim Calhoun.
It's tremendous just to see this in action. Everyone off their feet, ready to go. It's the holiday season, and they are pumped.
Jody Sylvester is the referee. Tom Corbin and Frank Scagliotta will be the umpires. They have met just once. It was in 1956. UConn won that game. They will meet twice in the month of January. A couple of weeks down the road, they'll do it in Miami. The opening tip is up and controlled by Popa. So Miami in their orange road uniforms against the Huskies of UConn. Scott out in front. He's the leading scorer for Miami. Jerome Scott from Virginia. Gets some pressure from Burrell at 6'7", playing the number 2 guard. Here's Popa, works to the baseline, lost it out of bounds. The turnover gives it to the Huskies.
The pressure early on, John, will be one of the biggest things that Miami has to deal with. Burrell right out front to start off, playing tough defensive man-to-man, one-on-one defense.
Chris Smith, number 13. This is Sellers outside. Daniel Marshall, one of the freshmen, inside to Walker. Here comes Marshall. Burrell batted away and headed toward our table.
Right
One
at
thing
us.
we didn't want was soft drinks all over the table.
You got a hand on it. Clean save.
30 seconds into the ball game. You saw a shot of Leonard Hamilton, who came from Oklahoma State. He knows about big-time basketball. He was a long-time assistant at Kentucky, then in the Big 8. He says, there's no way I can teach my players what this is all about.
Just have to experience it. That's all you can do.
Working hard underneath is Torreno Walker.
Popa coming up big on the first attempt with a nice block shot. It's that second and third opportunity that Connecticut will continue to hit the board. Here's the big guy holding his ground. Great timing. Doesn't even have to really jump. But it's the second and third efforts where Connecticut, who's been out rebounding their opponents, will come up pretty big on that offensive glass.
That will put Walker at the line, and if there's one thing that Torreno Walker has had a problem with in his career, it's foul shooting. You see 38%. That's an improvement over his career coming into this year.
Been playing big, though, the last 3 games for them, a vital part as to how good Connecticut will be this year.
And he hits the foul shot. That in itself is a victory.
So much for 38%.
A 3-0 lead, and you see the pressure. UConn as good as anybody in college basketball at trapping on the sidelines. Popa coming way out to help out. It takes about 12 seconds off the shot clock before they get to the offense.
But not too many teams, John, have a 7'3" guy who can act as a release on traps and presses. So it'll be interesting to see how Miami uses them.
Scott leans in, draws the foul. The basket does not go. The foul is on Scott Burrell, the junior from Hamden, Connecticut. The comparison, of course, in wins and losses, Connecticut shooting the ball better, and they have a much larger rebounding edge. It's interesting that Miami 5-5, they have been able to outscore their opposition.
Yeah, it is interesting, and I think that, you know, it's before the season, the conference season starts, maybe weaker opponents, but now the real thing with the conference.
Well, that choking defense that UConn plays, they're holding their opponents under 40%. You get them down in the 30s, you're going to win a lot of ball games.
Yeah, but what happens there is you don't have to be really on all cylinders with your game offensively.
Burton turns it over. That is the second Miami turnover. We've played a minute and a half. Leonard Hamilton in his second season at the helm. Miami's not taken a shot and have turned it over twice.
That's that pressure that's causing that little step, your little hesitation as a player. You go up with your shot, you're thinking shot, but that collapsing defense causes you to do something else.
Sellers looks inside, goes to Walker, backs his way in. Now to Marshall. He almost traveled. Smith for three, comes away. Scooting out of there with it is Gardner, the freshman, up and lays it home.
The long defense, or the long shot, rather, produces almost as good as an outlet pass. No one on Connecticut with the balance when Smith's shooting his corner jumper.
Connecticut with a 1-point lead. He played just over 2 minutes of the opening half. Smith goes to the other corner and nails that one.
Well, if I can't knock it down on the right, try the left. Here's that trap again.
The 24th three-pointer of the young season, and there's the trap on the side. It was touched by UConn. They almost got the ball back.
So what UConn is trying to do with the pressure, obviously, is to get a turnover if they can, but they're looking to up-pace this team. Miami has trouble against good defensive man-to-man pressure.
Ward trying to wedge his way up to the basket. Does. Sellers picks up the foul. His first, and it's the team's second.
Calhoun on the sideline saying that Sellers went straight up without moving his hands down low in the blocks defensively. Here's the entry pass. Good position, though, to start. Popo is in the middle of the lane, wide open. Also, there's a little grabbing going on. Good call from the officials.
Ward bends the first foul shot in. He's just barely a 50% shooter coming into the ball game. 6-3 UConn. We played 2.5. A pair at the line for Hemi Ward, a junior from Houston, Texas, one of 2 Texans on this Miami team. Here is Burrell against the zone. Miami working hard on that zone in the practice this afternoon. Walker has it batted away, but they will count the basket. Popa going up for his 26th block of the season, but he was up above.
Showing a little quickness. Walker coming down the lane. Let's see if he gets it on the way up. Yeah, it looked like it just about started coming down.
He is an intimidator, coming into the game with 24 blocks, matching the block total of Danielle Marshall, the freshman. Here's Burton. No place to go, so he decides to go in the air. Ward now along the baseline. He's cut off.
There's a good help defense, though. If you beat your man out front, somebody from Connecticut is always alert on the weak side, picking it up.
And the fans appreciating that defense. Burton, too strong. Sellers the rebound. Rob kicks it out to Chris Smith. He is cut off, and a turnover called as Smith tried to adjust the way he was carrying the basketball. He turns it over.
Jerome Scott coming up quickly to attack defensively. Sometimes you look over your shoulder before you receive the ball and anticipate somebody being there with the shuffle of the steps.
So now Miami trailing by 4.
Might add that that was not a popular call here.
Well, those that go against the team in the white uniforms seldom are. Jerome Scott is a senior, and of the 9 players that they've been using in the rotation, Walker goes for the steal.
Could be against Ward, though, with the push-off.
It is against Ward.
Walker, a nice job of moving his feet initially to get around that post-up move by Ward down low.
We mentioned the 9 players that Coach Hamilton has been rotating. 6 of them are newcomers. One, a redshirt who was out with an injury last year, 4 freshmen, and a transfer. We've not seen the transfer player yet, Anthony Lawrence, but we will. Here is Burrell, skips it to Smith.
Back in a flat 2-3 zone, but it's very, very tight.
Burrell launches a 3. Rebound Burton.
The flatter you get, the better your rebounding opportunities are because you don't have to extend.
So now the Canes down by 2 baskets inside Popa. Turns, steps up, shoots the jumper, rattles and won't go. Good strong rebound by Burrell.
And a nice little touch by the big guy. Just could not get it to drop for him.
The 3 from the corner, no good. And that will be a push-off foul called on Sellers. He picks up number 2. It's the Big East regular season, so a reminder that we play with 6 now in the conference. We have our first timeout. It comes with 15:43 remaining in the opening half. UConn with the early 4-point lead over Miami. The Hurricanes have had throughout the preseason is the fact that they have at no time had all of their scholarship players together. Popa, who inbounds the ball here, missed the first 9 practices with a collapsed lung. Turned out it wasn't anything serious. Then he went back to his home country of Romania to play on the national team. That was something they had agreed to prior to his coming to school at Miami. So they simply haven't had all their people. There's the jumper. It's a line drive jumper that misses. Sellers clears it out of there to Smith. Oh, watch out. Marshall cannot control, and it's batted back to Burrell. He shoots the 3. It rims off. Popa had it. Skips out of his hands. Back comes Miami now. This is this is Burton. Has it batted away and stolen by Burrell, the leader in the nation in steals last year. Burrell picks up the steal here.
That's what that forced defense, the pressure, is trying to do. Here's a little high-low game, but it's not working because of the collapse.
And that time, Chris Smith threw it away. He thought that Burrell was going to back out farther away from the top of the circle. He did not, and the turnover gives it back to Miami. We played exactly 5 minutes. That's the second turnover for the Huskies.
The defense has been effective because Miami is playing a little quicker pace, I think, than what they want to because of this trapping defense. Even when it doesn't work, once they break, they usually look for a quicker shot.
O'Keal Swaby has checked into the lineup for Miami, a highly touted freshman who averaged last year over 47 points a game.
I was looking through the notes. I saw that number. I said, wait a minute, this has to be a misprint.
Ward, no place to go, and he stands in the lane too long.
Little unsure, pointing some fingers, but that's the freshman not knowing exactly where to be, and that's another byproduct of not having all their players around for extended periods of time.
A fan favorite at UConn, Dan Cerulik, checks in. Miami has turned it over 5 times, Jim, and they've taken only 4 shots. There's Cerulik, who has been a role player throughout his career with the Huskies.
No surprise that that number of 37% comes up again with UConn holding their opponents from a field goal shooting percentage.
Baseline jumper, Cerulik rattles, won't go. Popa had it, stripped away, Burrell to the hole. Scramble, and Smith has it.
Big guy's getting his hands on the basketball. He just has to come down with it.
Walker has it batted away. Here come the Canes, 3 on none. Scott to the hole, and it's rejected. Lay it up, great play by Burrell.
Lay it up there and I'll go get it. The timing was perfect. I can only tell you how that feels as a player getting my shot blocked. I don't know how this feels to get off the floor like this, but look at the lineup. He's got his steps, the timing, everything from both ends perfect, but that's just a terrific play.
Well, the fans are still standing and applauding that move. The foul will be on Smith. Chris picks up his first. You know, we've been stuck on 8-4 for a long time. Neither team has been able to put the ball in the hole. It's obvious that Konstantin Popa can be a factor. He just eats up the space in there.
The size, he's got the skills, he's got the mechanics. I think what he has to do is just work on that body a little bit, put some strength on, and not be pushed around. But we've seen him get his hands on 2 and 3 rebounds on the defensive end, but not come up with the ball.
Away from the ball, we've got a foul called on Miami. That foul goes on O'Keal Swaby, the freshman from North Miami. You see the shooting percentages. Pretty miserable both ways right now.
But it's good to be sitting over here, not being on that stat sheet.
Opening night jitters for both. Burrell sets down. Here's another of the highly touted freshmen. You brag about your Michigan freshmen. They're equally proud of their 8 at the start of the season. Now 6 that are playing because Brian Fair is in the lineup.
Very good range. Going to be a good player. Just has to learn the ropes in the Big East.
Donyell Marshall. Walker along the baseline to Cerulik. Gets it up, but not in.
Swaby got a hand on it. Pretty good defensive interior defense by Miami. They just can't give up the second and third opportunities like they're coming up with.
That is a foul on Swaby. That's 2 on O'Keal Swaby.
Miami has to focus on the man taking it out of bounds. Sometimes they run a double screen for him. It's open in the corner.
Cerulik to Walker. UConn has missed 7 in a row until Smith takes care of that with his second 3-pointer. 6 points for Chris Smith.
There's Gardner on the break.
And they turn it over before the shot. 13-10 to play in the half. UConn leading 11-4. That is 7 turnovers now for Leonard Hamilton's team.
That's the one you have to go with, though, John. You have the numbers, you have the break. Go the other way right now with Fair stepping in.
Bryan picks up his first foul.
The defensive pressure by UConn really hasn't allowed Miami to get into too many sets in terms of execution because they're way out on the floor still.
Scott with it, tries to reset now in the half court. Popa, Cerulik all over him. Now Ward. And again inside, we have a foul call. This time it's against Trevor Burton. Now keep in mind that Miami primarily goes with a three-guard offense. You get the little guys down trying to bang bodies with the big guys.
Yeah, and you also get that movement a little bit, but with both ends of the floor, screens are they're trying to set screens, but the feet are moving, the bodies are moving, the officials are making the right calls. The players just have to stay still on their screens.
Burton picks up his first foul. Miami with 5 team fouls. Likewise, UConn.
To skip a man, that's what Burrell just did. Skip a man. Oh, watch out!
Scott Burrell's first basket is a beauty.
I'll say the tendency, we've seen him defensively and now offensively, but against the zone, it's difficult to pick up a man to block out, and no one got in the lane of Burrell that trip.
The constant defensive pressure, the trapping alone is Ward. He takes it to the hole and will go to the line.
Here's what we talked about with Popa standing big and tall at 7'3", having the ability to look over the trap and go right down low to Ward.
We have seen a couple of highlight plays so far by Burrell. Here's the one at the offensive end coming up in a minute.
Here's the shot, but look at the orange jerseys. Everybody's looking at the ball. No one's getting a body on Burrell. A clear lane, and he started from the top of the key area.
The Huskies have scored the last 7 points. Ward at the line trying to cut off that run. Not with that one.
Still coming down the second opportunities for the Hurricanes.
Ward's high this year, 14. His career high, 23. He makes 1 out of 2. His 3 points have come at the line. They do cut off the 7-0 run. It's 13-5, an 8-point lead now. As Anthony Lawrence from St. Petersburg, Florida, played his first year at Alabama. Played part of the second year, then went to St. Pete Junior College. Completed the program there and checks in here with basically a year and a half of eligibility. Here's Fair, gives it up to Cerulik and gets it back.
Only been around the program for, what, about 3 weeks?
That's right.
But he's been playing very, very well, considering all those factors.
Walker gets the baseline, misses the shot. Burton has the rebound, finds Gardner. Oh, Burrell at 6'7", the way he can play outside and inside.
Terrific athlete, quickness, anticipation, just everything compact, right in the same mold offensively and defensively.
Around the perimeter.
Here's the post-up. They want to go to Lawrence if they can and isolate him on the blocks.
He had 19 against Arizona, just Arizona State, 6 days after he joined this basketball program. His brother is also on the team, Pat Lawrence.
What he does well is he attacks and goes after it again. That time drifted a little bit on his jumper, so he's not a factor that trip offensively on the second chance.
Cerulik on a great feed from Burrell.
There's Burrell just showing another facet of his game on the offensive side with a beautiful baseball-type bounce pass across the lane.
It is now a 10-point lead, the biggest lead of the first half. We have a timeout with 10:57 remaining in the opening half, and UConn starting to open it up on Miami, leading by 10. We'll be back with more after this word from your local station. Consent of the Big East Conference is prohibited. At the offensive end, rebounding-wise, UConn winning the battle. They've got 6 offensive boards, and they've turned that into 8 points. They lead by 10. Here comes Scott.
Oh, terrific move, shaking people at half court with the crossover dribble right below at his feet.
Only the second field goal of the opening half for the Hurricanes, and it's Scott's first of the night. There's an easy steal.
There's a freshman lob pass across the court.
Scott lays it this time with the left hand off the glass.
Leonard Hamilton happy at this point, not happy with the way his team is shooting the basketball up until the last 2 trips, but to hang around here, first trip in the Big East, he has to be happy with the way they've shown at least the ability to hang around.
Sellers tried to power his way in. He draws the foul. It's either on Popa or Lawrence, and see which way they go. They go against Anthony Lawrence, that's his first.
See, what you have to remember if you're a teammate of Popa is that he's so big, he's going to get his hands on the basketball, so you can't really reach in. And there's the quick reach by Lawrence. He goes up instinctively to try to block the shot also, but he has to remember who his personnel is in the deep line with him.
Sellers to the line, where he's 28 out of 50 so far this year. The Huskies coming in, winning by an average margin of almost 25 points a game, averaging over 88 a game as a team.
He's in.
Both Sellers and Chris Smith making their 90th consecutive starts here tonight. 17-9 the score. UConn the lead. The Huskies have led throughout.
Gotta be careful with the long one.
Burton is trapped. Finds Popa.
So there's the big guy. He acts as a release for them, so they have to be aware of that.
Left hand follow no good. Tipped up and into the hands of the Huskies.
May have gotten hit on that shot also.
Ollie into the lineup, has it blocked by Popa. Here comes Burton back the other way. It's a 2-on-2, but Miami's got some trailers on the play. Burton pulls up for the shot, and it's short. And on the rebound, Lawrence picks up his second.
Had the hand down low. Was blocked out a little bit and pushed just with the left hand down about waist high.
We mentioned the arrival of Kevin Ollie, one of the other freshmen. There were two freshmen who are not playing because of injuries. One of them happens to be the coach's son, Jeff Calhoun, who is out with a shoulder problem, and Rudy Johnson suffered a fractured kneecap early in the season. They expect him to redshirt this year, but Donnie Marshall, still another freshman, checks into the lineup. He's from Federal Way, Washington. He has been hampered a bit by an injury. A thigh problem has kept him out of the last two games.
They are definitely loaded once they get all their freshmen healthy and playing and learning and getting the minutes. A little bit of a future for them, huh?
I think so. Danielle Marshall, Brian Fair, Kevin Ollie, Donnie Marshall, and Tambu Willingham. We haven't seen him yet. Richie Ashmead, who was highly touted a couple of years ago coming out of high school, and he's having a tough time finding minutes on this team.
Yeah, especially when you look at the experience of their backcourt, starting out with Burrell and also this man at the line.
Trying to extend the lead to 10, matching the biggest lead of the first half, and does. 8 points now for Smith. Second time they've had a 10-point lead. And the Canes try to run it a little bit, push the basketball. Scott takes it deep in the corner.
This is where they have that tendency to go very quickly before a good shot develops. Here, much better patience this trip.
Gardner out in front. Burrell jumps out on him. Now the Canes will have to reset with 23 seconds on the shot clock.
Making them work for everything but 2 hoops so far in this first half.
Pat Lawrence, Anthony's brother, is checked in. Good move and a nice soft touch that time. Gardner gets his second basket.
Like to see the point guard recognize that, drift through. Some guys take it too far to the glass.
Burrell's three, short. Tipped out of bounds, touched last by Miami. So the Huskies will keep it with 8:59 remaining in the half and an 8-point lead. Miami continues to shuffle their players as Burton comes back in, and Scott will get a blow. Alley-oop. And a foul called. The foul goes against Pat Lawrence. It's his first.
Nice set play by UConn coming out of bounds.
And it was a play that Miami worked on a lot during the shoot-around today.
But that tendency, John, when you bring the ball out of bounds on one side of the floor and you can totally look to your right side, defensively you have to shift to the weak side and make a quick step, but you forget for a moment about the man behind you.
The first foul shot rattles out. Burrell, an outstanding baseball prospect as well, pitched at the Class A level for the Blue Jays during the summertime.
One brave soul here. I don't know if you caught that just then, John. It got so quiet for that free throw. And one guy way up high with a Miami outfit yelled out, "Miss." The student body almost turned on him.
Well, it was his moment, but it was only a moment.
What a time.
That foul is on Danielle Marshall, his first.
I've never seen that many people turn at one time and said, "Who said that?"
Excuse me, it's Donnie Marshall, not Danielle. Get our marshals straightened out here. Donnie Marshall's first foul. Pat Lawrence from St. Petersburg, one of the 4 freshmen that is seeing a lot of playing time, and Donnie Marshall rips down the rebound. This is Kevin Olive, and he turns it over. Credit Morton on that play, got a piece of the ball.
Yeah, staying pretty good. Once again, even though Connecticut looking to push it up the floor, pretty decent defensive transition so far by Miami.
Jake Morton, he is the redshirt who's coming back from an injury year last year. Started the season, then suffered the injury. Out of bounds, and it'll be UConn ball. You'll notice the reaction of the Huskies. They take a lot of pride in their defense.
I think they understand from a coaching standpoint the fundamentals, how you win basketball games, and philosophies. And I think from a defensive standpoint, if you look right across at any level, teams that play well defensively are generally at the top of the pack from a standings point of view.
8 minutes and 23 seconds remaining in the first half. Smith has a couple of 3-pointers. Baseline jumper way too strong, but Sellers is on the other side.
There's the shift. Miami shifting defensively in their zone, but once again, no responsibility except for an area to block out, and it allows offensive rebounds. That's really hurting Miami right now.
Back to the 10-point lead, matching the biggest of the first half for the Huskies, who for the second week in a row are ranked number 5 in the nation. They started out number 15, just kept winning and moving up in the rankings.
Have to hurry right now.
Yeah, they've got 2 seconds to get it across.
That extra dribble. By putting the ball on the floor, you generally run into trouble against traps. With the big guy out of the lineup, and all of a sudden he just pops up off the bench right now. He's their outlet.
10 turnovers now for Miami. Jim Calhoun's club is on top. 21-11. We'll be back. For Miami's debut in Big East basketball. Donnie Marshall skips it. Danielle Marshall on the other side will go to the line. He hit the deck as he was fouled on the play by Ward.
There's that shift back and forth across the floor, looking to bypass defensive zone players.
Donnie Marshall checks out. Walker back in the lineup. And Danielle Marshall will go to the line. 9 team fouls have been called now on Miami. One more, and everything will be a 2-shot situation. The fans wanted it to be 3. It'll be 2 for Danielle. You see Coach Hamilton pacing in front of his bench. One of the things he talked about today was the fact that he can't worry about all this Big East stuff. He said, I have to worry about my own team and getting them to play our basketball before I worry about the other teams.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. You know, most times your success is based on how well you perform anyway. And really everything else is kind of just an extra worry for him.
Marshall nails 1 out of 2 from the line. That is his first point of the game. 22-11, biggest lead of the first half, and Popa turns it over. A little hesitation, and Jody Sylvester picked it up.
The only problem with having your big guy back there is you force him into making the quick decisions against quicker guys in terms of his passing. Might be a little better served to have him come to half court as a release.
11-5, the turnover ratio, and certainly that is something that was to be expected because of the pressure defense. Burrell gets it in the lane, and then a good feed underneath. Sellers reverses to finish.
Burrell just doing enough to draw the big guy out of the lane, and Sellers with that slip along the baseline.
13-point lead now. Sellers has 6.
Here's where the big guy's the release in the back court. You see, he has to make the decision now, and he's not used to that. No big guy really is. The guards are used to being able to do that and make the decision.
The freshman Gardner gives it up on the wing to Burton. Right now, the Canes have gone back to their opening lineup of Popa, Ward, Scott, Burton, and Gardner. Burton against Danielle Marshall. Takes it into the lane. Gardner down to the baseline, no place to go. For 3 from the corner, it's Burton, and it nestles in the net.
Terrific penetration by Gardner, and Burton doing what the opposite guard's supposed to do. Go along the baseline. If the point goes to the baseline, go opposite. It's the easiest place to catch the ball.
The Canes under 30% in three-point shooting. Burrell tried to thread the needle, could not that time, and turns it over. That's the first three-pointer of the night for Miami. Smith has hit a couple so far for the Huskies. This is Gardner spinning against Smith. Pulls up for the jumper. It's short. Gets it back along the baseline. Burton saves it, but right into the arms of Marshall. Now Chris Smith. Penetration. Lays it up. Won't go, and a foul. No foul called. A rebound to Sellers. And then Danielle Marshall puts it back.
Too much on the glass, but Smith, nobody picked him up at all, so he just sped through the lane. But Connecticut continues to pound the glass.
That's one thing they would like Chris to do more of, is penetrate and go to the basket. Even though he's had a tremendous career at UConn, if there's one thing they could get more from him, it is in that area of penetration. 26-14, 5.5 remaining in the first half. We're at the Gamble Pavilion. Burton keeps his dribble and hits the shot.
It looked like a switch by Burrell. He never picked him up, let the ball just go. He can't do that.
Here's Smith. Penetration. The basket counts, and Smith will pick up the foul. That's 2 on Chris, but give him 10 points in the game. He leads all scorers.
The big guy showing a little something different. Last trip down, Smith had him jumping at his shots. Here, though, the big guy just holds his position. Clearly an offensive foul.
(28-16) the score. That is 18 fouls on UConn, and Popa goes to the line. Played for a year at Fork Union Academy, and that was his transition year in learning English and getting ready to go to college. He's done very well. Speaks English quite well. Here comes Walker. Missed the shot, follows it.
How many times have we seen it, though, so far tonight in this first half, John? If that's not the adjustment they're going to have to make at halftime, how to come up with that first rebound on the defensive glass.
You're right. It's not the first shots of UConn that are killing Miami. It's the second shot.
Yes.
Scott is fouled as he moves along the lane, trying to go for the layup.
Because percentage-wise on the first shot, Miami's defense is excellent in terms of the percentage defensively. But you keep giving up those second opportunities, you're out of position to begin with, and the numbers start dramatically increasing.
Kevin Ollie picks up his first foul, and Smith now is the number 3 all-time leading scorer. He had been tied for number 4 coming in. He needs 327 points, or needed 327. Now he needs 317 to become number 1 all-time. Ward out of the lineup, and there is Chris Smith, back for his senior year, leading the Huskies. And what great success they've had during the time that he has been here. There's the list, and you can see that Chris is moving up. Popa goes for the steal. Marshall shoots the 3 from straight away.
He's got the range to hit that shot.
Good hands that time by Popa, as he won the battle with Kevin Ollie. Burton wide open. Steps inside the three-point line. Quick turnaround by Popa, won't go. Walker battling his own teammate, and the ball goes out of bounds.
Big guy shows some good signs. That pass was down below the knees. It appeared like he went down and scooped it up, came up shooting in one motion.
30-17, 4.5 minutes remaining in the opening period. Jerome Scott, the leading scorer for the Canes, with 5 so far tonight. Works his way in. It's batted away by Walker. Walker got a piece of it. Back comes Kevin Ollie. Sellers steps into the lane, up with the right hand and in.
That's where you neutralize the big guy with the height advantage. Take him out on the floor a little bit and put the ball down and go quickly.
8 points now for Sellers. Popa looking for help. Scott, chased by Ollie, goes behind his back. We have less than 4 remaining in the first half.
Shows you the confidence, though, that Leonard Hamilton has in the big guy and his passing ability. He's had him back in the backcourt the entire half.
Well, when you consider he missed something like 23 days of practice between his illness and his trip back to Romania, I think they're very pleased with his progress. And then you put Lawrence in the lineup for the first time only a couple of weeks ago. A lot of changes for Miami, and right now they trail by 15 with 3:42 to play. More basketball coming up from Stores. UConn leads by 15. The Huskies off to their best start in more than a decade. And we're going to update the rest of the Buick scoreboard for you. Syracuse has jumped on top of BC. The Eagles had gotten out to that quick start until they lost out west to West Virginia. And the Pitt Panthers at home leading Seton Hall. I think Pitt probably of the teams. You see St. John's an early lead over Villanova. We'll keep you posted as we go along on our Buick scoreboard. The Pitt Panthers have played a very tough schedule. They have not had it easy, losing 3 of those 4 games by 1 point.
Get you ready for the conference, that's for sure. Still pretty good pressure out front. Miami having troubles getting it down.
And Swaby almost lost it. Popa saves it, now spins, goes up and gives the ball up. Lawrence misses the shot. Danielle Marshall ahead to Chris Smith. He's got Ollie trailing, pulls up for the shot, won't go. Tracks it down himself. Along the baseline, it's Walker to Ollie. Cerulik and Smith for 3. Short.
There's the long rebound. You have to gobble it up. Generally off the floor.
The Huskies just 2 for 11 and 3-pointers. They've been firing them up, but they have not been going.
Part of that is because of the big guy's presence down low. You think they'd try to work it inside a little bit. He's been there.
Scott shoots a 3 and drills it. Scott's 9th 3-pointer of the year. He's first of the night. He has 8, and the lead is 12.
Continue to hang around. UConn looking to put that knockout punch down in the first half. Miami answering back.
The Huskies have really yet to be tested, winning by an average margin of 25 points per ball game. You know, we mentioned Miami's road trip. They go from here to St. John's, to Seton Hall, and then to Syracuse. What a way to start your first year in the Big East. There's the back door and the miss by Marshall.
Tough catch on up top. You have to come down with 2 hands on that one to grab the ball first. Maybe go back up again with it.
It's a play the Huskies like to use, and that time it did not work out. Ollie will pick up the foul as he was hand-checking Scott. Let's look at UConn's schedule. They won a big ball game at Texas, and they also won in the ACC Big East Challenge against Wake Forest. That game was in Hartford, where they play a lot of their basketball games. You know, they've only lost 2 games ever in this building, which is 2.5 years old. The only 2 teams to win here at Gampel Pavilion are St. John's and NC State.
We got 2 shots. Talk about your home court advantage.
Jerome Scott 1 for 2 at the line. 1:54 remaining in the half.
Considering it's their first trip up this way in the Big East, I think Miami has done a nice job of a couple of things here in terms of hanging around. Even though their shots aren't falling for them, I think if they make some adjustments, which I'm sure they have to do on the glass defensively, it's the first half when it's easy to get rattled in your first trip.
Smith. Walker steps down the lane, and he's fouled on the way in by Swaby.
There's that reach again, John, in terms of forgetting that you have a big guy on the floor with you.
Well, that's something they have to learn. They have to learn how to play with a player who's 7 feet 3 inches tall, and he's usually behind you.
Yeah, exactly. And he's got the mobility to step around, too. We've seen him do some very nice things defensively. Pretty good touch in terms of going after block shots and getting his hands on the ball. We haven't seen him leave his feet yet on a good ball and shoulder fake.
Burrell back in the lineup. Kind of a quiet first half for Scott Burrell. That one dramatic follow shot is his only basket. Danielle Marshall goes to Jim Calhoun's bench. Walker with 7 points, 5 rebounds. He's made his only free throw attempt for the night. He's a Floridian from Orlando. Well, 2 in a row. Torreno's on a roll at the line. Jake Morton back in. Swaby goes out.
1 shot out, 1 to go.
We mentioned Morton coming back for his 5th year after missing last year because of injury. Again, he's a young man who hasn't played for a year. Torreno Walker working on 3 straight double-doubles. Papa has the rebound.
There's that aggressive drive to the basket. Once they get by the Connecticut defensive trap at 3-quarter court, Miami looking to push the action.
Torreno Walker picks up his first foul. A minute and 41 seconds remaining in the half. UConn 33 and Miami 21. Burton's first chance at the line tonight. He's a senior. He's from Miami. You know, Miami for 14 years did not have basketball. Then in 1985 the program was restarted. Leonard Hamilton is in his second year after a couple of years at Oklahoma State. Of course, you go back to the heyday for Miami basketball was in the early 60s, and Rick Barry was there. That one rattles out and is tipped up and in by Popa.
And I'll take it, he's saying, all the way down. He's got a big smile on his face. That was like a setup in volleyball. He's just keeping it alive.
Popa's first field goal of the game. Cuts the lead to 9. Burrell in traffic has it stripped away, and a foul is called. Gardner backing in to help out Popa, and the foul is called.
Situation where Gardner once again down low defensively, forgetting that the big guy is right behind him again.
Lawrence picks up the foul. That is his third. So he will leave as Hammy Ward checks back in. Burrell with just 2 points. He does have 5 rebounds.
I think if you're Connecticut going in at the half, the focus will have to be in terms of attacking. I don't think they've done a good enough job of getting the ball down in the blocks area and to challenge the big guy. Sure, he's big, but I've always felt that you have to go right at the big guy until he proves that he's going to swat everything out.
Burrell, no luck at all from the line. He's 0 for 3. The foul shots are not falling for Scott Burrell. He's missed 4 in a row, and the lead is 9. A little over a minute remaining in the first half. Michael Gardner, one of the 4 freshmen, seeing a lot of playing time for Coach Leonard Hamilton.
What I think they've effectively done, crowd getting a little warmed up right now, but for the most part, they've taken the crowd out of the ball game.
Ward that time trying to set a screen, and the foul was called on.
I believe that was Fair again.
Yeah, Brian Fair sneaked in there.
Another one of those fouls, John, where you're giving up an opportunity there where a guy's not looking to score on you. Kind of a silly foul. A young kid once again. I think he has the potential to be a nice player as the years go by. But it is conference time.
And we're shooting 2 as each team over that 10 foul limit. 1 minute and 3 seconds remaining. Ward is 3 for 4. Does not have a field goal in the ball game.
Kind of quietly crept right back into this after being down 15.
Right now down by just 8, and important, I think, before halftime to get it under double figures.
Yeah, and psychologically going in, Miami coach will say, Hamilton will say, hey guys, we're hanging around, we're not shooting well, let's work on some adjustments and see what we can do in the second half.
Fair nestles the shot in the net. Bryant's first field goal. Back to a 10-point lead. Gardner, he's got Burton on the left wing, finds him. Burton, though, in a hurry to get the shot in the air, kicks it out of bounds.
Good attempt by Miami breaking the press once again, but how about Connecticut getting that quick shot by Fair, looking to get numbers, and they did. A good pull-up jumper.
So Rulick out. Donyell Marshall back in. Chris Smith will walk it up with 41 seconds remaining, and Miami has doubled UConn's total in turnovers. And the Canes coming into the ball game averaging 16 turnovers per ball game. So you can credit that to the pressure defense, the trapping defense of the Huskies.
That and the second chance opportunities that Connecticut has gotten in this first half. I think those 2 factors add up to why they're down 10 from a Miami point of view.
Burrell skips it.
Here's the big guy.
Donyell Marshall up, bending in. Marshall gets his second field goal.
Good little look by Fair, I believe it was, on the baseline, who recognized that he was double teamed. Oh, too lazy.
Walker with the easy steal. And that is halftime. UConn will head to the locker room up by 12. The Hurricanes in their Big East debut find themselves trailing 37-25 at halftime. We have a lot coming up, including a preview of the Big East. We'll return after this word from your local station. back at a sold-out Gamble Pavilion. We welcome you back to the halftime. UConn leading 37-25, but kind of a sluggish start to the ball game for the Huskies. They shot under 40% in the first half and have really not been able to push anybody out of the picture. Let's update the scorers. First of all, Scott, who is the leader for Miami, has 9. Burton has 4. Popa with only 2. Samar Logan, who had started some games earlier in the year for the Hurricanes, is not playing or has not played so far. Chris Smith, as you might expect, leads the scoring for UConn. He has 10 in the first half, and he is the only player on either team in double figures. Happy you could be here for the start of the Big East season. I'm John Sanders along with Jim Spanarkel. And we have a chance now, Jim, to take a look at that first half. Certainly offensive rebounding was the key for UConn. Their defensive pressure was the key. And Scott Burrell, who's averaging almost 20 points a game, it's not really been a factor scoring-wise, but he's made some spectacular plays.
Yeah, and where he makes things up, I think, in the course of a game is defensively. He does those little things. Right here, a terrific play, racing down what would appear to be an easy shot for Scott. He comes from behind and times it just perfectly. Avoids the camera at the same time. So pretty athletic move all around. And then on the offensive glass, a big problem for Miami. 14 offensive rebounds for Connecticut in the first half, giving up way too many points. But he follows up the shot with the lane wide open as a crossover from the defensive swing. And there he is, just following it up with no one blocking him out.
And that was the one thing that UConn did not do well at all, and that is shoot the ball from the outside. They're only 2 of 10 in three-pointers, and you see 38%. That is well below the norm for UConn. They came into the game averaging about 48% as a team. Miami pretty much where they had been coming in. So it wasn't the shooting that hurt Miami. It was the turnovers. And, of course, you look at the vast difference in the number of shots taken in the first half.
Because of those second opportunities. And if one other thing jumps out when you look at a quick stat sheet, 1 block shot for the big guy, 7-3 Popa down low, which means that he's intimidating, he's helping out, but he's not getting his block shots. So from a Connecticut standpoint, push the ball down in the paint and force him to block a shot or 2.
7-foot 3-inch Constantine Popa. UConn will have the ball. They'll be going from right to left as we start the second half. Walker, Donyell Marshall, Chris Smith, Scott Burrell, and Rod Sellers.
First 3 minutes of this half will kind of dictate the tone.
Sellers with an offensive rebound, and he'll go to the line, fouled by Trevor Burton.
Storyline picks up right at the beginning of the second half with an offensive second opportunity.
Sellers to the line for the 3rd time tonight. He made both of his free throws in the first half. We mentioned the three-point shooting. Miami had been under 30% coming in. They made 2 of 2. UConn made only 2 of 10 in the first half. The Huskies did not shoot well at the line. 7 of 13. Miami about the same. They were 7 of 14, and Sellers nails that one. 9 points now for the senior from Florence, South Carolina. The second one rolls in. A couple of Miami players have 3 fouls. Swaby has 3 and Anthony Lawrence has 3. Both of those players off the bench and picking up the 3 fouls.
Connecticut continues that difficult pressure.
Scott's 3, no good. Good position that time for Sellers in front of Popa. Smith races to the other end and scores.
Well, credit Marshall, too, on the left side for getting out ahead of the pack, making the defense react to him, which cleared a lane for Smith.
Ward hands the ball to Scott. We have played a minute of the second half. Gardner for 3. Rings the bell.
Breakdown defensively. No one picked him up.
Only the 4th three-pointer of the year for Gardner. The Canes now are 3 of 4 in three-point shots. It's 41-28.
The skip pass to Burrell is wide open also.
The miss of the 3. Burton has the rebound. Gardner will push it ahead for the Canes. Down by 13 points. A 3-guard offense for Coach Hamilton. We have a foul away from the ball inside on UConn.
We talked about Michael Gardner running the show. Did not have a turnover in that first half. So as a freshman under pressure on the road, doing a very nice job. But it's very important for Miami to get good shots in the first 3 or 4 minutes.
Walker has picked up his 2nd foul, tips the rebound into the hands of Burton. Well, a new clock for the Canes. Scott for 3 from the corner, and it's good. Scott hits another one. He has 2 3-pointers, a dozen in the ballgame.
2 breakdowns for Connecticut defensively here in the first 2 minutes has cost them 6 points from the tray.
The lead is 10, and Scott an easy steal.
Here comes Burrell again.
Oh, and he got it again.
Oh, out of bounds.
He's out of bounds. Gardner went up. Burrell just blocked it against the backboard.
You can see a player's eyes light up when you can tell. Right about here, he's got it lined up. Now watch with the right hand. If he goes left hand with that block shot, he gets a foul because he hits head going across. But the opposite side, he comes away with a clean block.
The Canes had the numbers and could not cash in on the break.
Gonna get it to the big guy. There it is. He's wide open.
But he puts it on the court. Goes up with the left hand, spins it up, no good. Rebound Walker. Now Popa has it.
His natural hand is a lefty, but he was forced by his dad to go and use the right hand, so he could shoot the basketball with either hand.
Volleyballs it back out to Scott. They said when he came to Miami out of Fork Union, strictly a European-type player. Really no movement, no power at all. That's a turnover. The turnovers continue to plague the Hurricanes.
That penetration, though, if they can force that action by getting into the paint area. Popa just then had a good opportunity for a layup. Unfortunate for the traveling.
Sellers along the baseline. Smith for 3. Danielle Marshall battling Popa.
Brought it down, though.
The held ball will give it to the Hurricanes. Miami will have it with 17-17 to play in the game and down 10. This is where they love to trap you, right on the side.
If they catch you right before the half court, that's the best place to get it.
He steps across the line just in time, and that was one huge step.
Oh, very close to back court.
41-31. Popa, short jumper is blocked and a goaltend is called on the ace shot blocker for UConn. Danielle Marshall.
Now let's face it, it's 7-3. If he gets off the floor just a little bit, he has to be shooting down on it. Looks good though.
Popa, the tallest player ever at Miami. Burrell hanging. Shot won't go. Gets it back. Up against Popa and tipped in again. I'm not sure whether they're going to give the ball to Burrell or Walker, who might have just gotten a piece of it, but I think they give it to Burrell. Only the second basket for Scott. Here is,
oh, that's a good one.
Blocked against the backboard and out of bounds. The Huskies beginning to roar a bit for their hometown fans, and Marshall coming in with 24 blocks, averaging 3 a game, pinned that one.
Showing a little versatility once again. Good look. Straight up in the air. Right hand again. Very clean.
And Miami touched it last. So the Huskies will have it as Chris Smith comes to the sideline and has a chat with head coach Jim Calhoun. Kevin Ollie takes his spot in the lineup. Danielle Marshall.
Take another step into that three-point line and drill one. He's got the range.
Burrell trying to go to the bounce pass, could not.
Here's a collapse by Miami. Very, very tight. Connecticut struggling from the outside, so very good coaching.
Walker from Burrell. Count the basket and he'll go to the line.
Terrific interior passing. Connecticut very, very patient, looking for seams. Good unselfish play to come up with a hoop. Here's the post down low. They slip. Burrell stepping in, drawing the big guy right at him. And that point, it's just a little too late for him to get back on Walker.
Popa picks up his second foul. 15:59 to play. It's a 12-point lead. That's where we stood at halftime when UConn led 37-25. Walker with a dozen points.
That's the big one. That's the one he has to come down with. He gets his hands on a lot of basketball. He's got to snatch that one in and bring that down as a clean rebound.
We have a timeout on the court. The Huskies leading by 12 after the first 4 minutes of the second half. Back to Connecticut after this. And let's look ahead to the second day of the Big East regular season. Villanova's at Georgetown. UConn, a big game against Illinois. Seton Hall at Boston College. Miami continues their road trip at St. John's. And Providence at Syracuse. It's underway, Jim. The battle has begun. Marshall hats the shot. 7 points for Donyell Marshall.
Burrell doing a job out front now, Hawking Gardner. Fans are back in it right now.
They definitely are. With 15 and a half minutes to go in the game. Scott against Ollie. Freshman cuts him off right at the lane with some help from Walker. The Huskies playing man-to-man primarily tonight. Miami has used mostly zone.
That has caused them the problems with the rebounding.
Stripped by Walker.
That's where Connecticut has to go for their kill if they can. With good opportunities after turnovers.
Marshall high off the rim and no good. Scramble along the baseline. Burrell touched it last, and the Canes will have it. It's Jim Calhoun, who had a great coaching career at Northeastern, 14 years there, 5 NCAAs. 1990, he was the coach of the year in the country and leading them to 31 victories.
Well, the first 5 minutes have just about elapsed here in the second half, and no big damage done by either team, especially Connecticut with Miami struggling a little bit to get good shots, but their poise is so key from this point on.
This is something they will run into night after night. Popa has it blocked, and the foul is called on Donyell Marshall.
Timing was there by Marshall, but it looked like he came across the head.
Usually when that hand comes down, Jim, that's when the call goes against you.
Yeah, that takes the pressure off the officials. The hand comes down, and 9 out of 10 times there's contact with it.
The hand of the player comes down, the official's hand goes up.
That's it.
47
on a rope.
You know, the one thing that Coach Hamilton talked about, he said, you know, as an independent Miami, really only back in college basketball for the past 5 years, has not had a chance to develop any rivalries, to get involved in conference play, to know what this is all about, to play in this kind of atmosphere. So that's what they're going to have to go through this season, in addition to trying to play under his system.
Yeah, it's an eye-opener, that's for sure. Coming up, looking into this crowd, trying to shoot your free throws. Concentration.
Popa misses both. Long lead pass to Burrell. To Sellers along the baseline. No place to go. Weak pass is cut off. And stolen back by Ollie. 3-on-1 against Popa. Marshall over Popa.
The big guy up to the challenge.
Ollie's shot won't go, and Scott has the rebound. So a couple of good opportunities go by the board for the Huskies.
So they just cannot deliver the blow right here to knock out Miami. They come back creeping and hanging around at the 14-minute mark.
Good head fake by Anthony Lawrence, his first basket. Donyell Marshall almost lost it. Jim Calhoun is working the officials as he talks to Tom Corbin. The ball knocked out of bounds. The Huskies will keep it with 14:06 to go in the game. A 12-point lead. Each team has scored 10 points in the second half, so we have been even. Sellers has it go out of his hand. Scott pushes it up for the Canes.
Oh, they got away with the step.
Here comes Gardner. Gives it up to Lawrence off the glass and good. Anthony Lawrence starting to come to life here in the second half, has all 4 of his points in this period. It's a 10-point lead and a first step travel.
Lawrence with the terrific body has to get down low, use his strength underneath, and just continue to attack.
Ollie goes out. The senior Chris Smith returns for Coach Jim Calhoun. You talk about teams being in the elite in college basketball. Certainly UConn in the last couple of seasons has been that. Scott pulls up for his jumper off the lane. Popa tips it out of bounds, but it was touched last by Sellers, according to Tom Corbin. So Sellers got a piece of it.
At first look, I thought that was a Connecticut ball.
And we have a problem with Gardner. He came up limping, Michael Gardner, and Coach Hamilton and his assistant Gary Toole looking on as Jody Sylvester talks to the freshman Michael Gardner.
He pulled up about 30 seconds ago down at the other end of the floor with usually appears to be a cramp. His right calf, that's what he was grabbing. I'm sure they'll try to stretch that out.
So Frank Grimaldi, the trainer, will go to work. The shot from the side is too strong, and Sellers has this rebound. Burrell gives it up to Walker.
Walker sure has been getting in good spots on the floor, particularly on the break.
Scott almost stepped on the sideline that time. UConn by 12, 49-37, 13 minutes to go.
I guess Miami's proven they're not going to be a pushover on the road. The early entry into the Big East Conference play.
They have been in most of the games. There is a long three, and it hits the bottom of the net. Jake Morton hits the three.
NBA style.
He was halfway to Hartford when he shot that one. 49-40. Burrell pulls up for the foul line jumper, bending in.
Good ball movement by Burrell, cutting through the seam. Good timing on the set.
6 points now for Scott Burrell. And for the most part, Miami has had a good plan against the trapping defense. Morton can't knock this one down. It's tipped up, no good. Walker keeps it alive. Still they scramble. Anthony Lawrence up off the glass, no good. And Burrell tips this one to himself, and here he comes. 12 minutes to go. An 11-point lead inside Sellers. Jump hook. Count the basket.
Looks like Morton with the reach in. Once again, the guards a little late getting back for Miami, doing their reaching again.
The foul is on Morton. For Sellers, 12 points. He and Walker have 12, as does Chris Smith. So a trio of Huskies with 12 points in the ball game, and the lead is 13. Biggest lead of the second half has been 14. And with about 4 minutes and 40 seconds left in the opening half, the Huskies had a 15-point lead. Sellers is 5 for 5 at the line. He leads all scorers with 13. The lead has grown to 14. It's 54-40 with 11:55 to go in the game. We'll have more basketball after this word from your local station. It's 54-40, and the fight continues for Miami here at UConn. 11:55 to go in the game, and when you leave the ball game, if you're Michael Gardner in the background, you become a cheerleader, I think, Jim.
Here he is, number 12, off the floor in the corner. We count the jumps. He's going very frequently. Part of that is the cheerleading. Part of that is to try to stretch that cramp out in his right calf area.
The trap on the side, as we've seen so often, creates the turnover. 19 turnovers, and there is Gardner, who has stretched that leg out. The Huskies have it.
Be interesting to see if Gardner can hold up. Usually cramps resurface.
Sellers steps into the lane and lays it up, no good. That's Lawrence with the rebound. Schwabe has returned as well for the Hurricanes. Shot comes right back at him. Now Smith. Lead pass, Burrell. He'll go to the air and is fouled.
There's some action on the break. Once again, Connecticut taking advantage of every opportunity. Burrell sleeping under just a little bit to avoid getting the block shot. Tucks that basketball down just a little bit. Schwabe with a good effort trying to come from behind.
But the way it's going tonight for Scott, this is the one place he doesn't want to be, 15 feet away. He's 0 for 4 at the foul line, and Schwabe has picked up 4 fouls. Remember, it's the Big East now. You play with 6. And I think Scott's going to have to regroup on his foul shooting.
Step away.
Popa out, and Ward returns for Miami. Well, the 7'3" freshman will get a rest. 11.5 minutes remaining in the ball game. Burrell finally gets the foul shot.
Hard to get your rhythm back after missing a bunch. Got to look up the floor.
3 on 2. Scott tries to give it up, and Burrell batted it away from behind. Walker to Smith. He's got Sellers ahead, takes it in, lays it in. The foul is on Lawrence, and you can count the basket. Smith has 14.
Great recognition by Smith, the experienced player on the floor, had the numbers, looking down on the right side, Fair with a good run to bring people to the corner. If you have guys on your wings as you're running the break, the defense has to react to them, and eventually they'll break themselves down.
Miami calls time. The biggest lead of the night belongs to the Huskies. They're up by 17 with 11:19 to go in the ball game. Can Miami come back? We'll find out when we come back after this word from your local station. I'm John Sanders. Miami has turned the ball over 20 times. That has led to 17 UConn points.
And that penetrating defense causes a lot of miscues that are really unforced, because Scott had someone, Swavey, right on the right-hand corner that he could have easily gone to and made the pass.
And those 17 points are the difference in the ball game, as the lead is now stretched to 18 by Smith. Chris with 15 so far tonight. There's the trap on the side.
Even when they break that first wave, Miami, Connecticut still comes back very, very quickly.
Michael Gardner says he was held by Smith. His coach agrees, but the officials do not.
Guess who makes the judgment and wins?
That's right. That is the 7th team foul on Miami, and UConn with only 2 team fouls here in the second half. Well, they're in good shape. We have 11:06 remaining in the game. Chris Smith, who's 3 out of 3 tonight. Smith averaging 19.5 points a game for Coach Calhoun. A highlight for Jim, who's from Braintree, Massachusetts, was to have some basketball courts in his hometown named in his honor this year.
Burrell, the only one to jump for the basketball, gives it right up, though.
The Canes will have it, down by 19. We're inside the 11-minute mark. Here in the second half. Burton to Scott.
Timing just not there. Here comes a little side entry pass. That's what they're looking to do. A couple of steps by Lawrence.
He lost control of the basketball, shifted his feet, and turns it over.
He actually was in better position the first time, but he didn't get the basketball. The second time it's from the wing. He wasn't really ready to catch and make his move.
And of course, that's a dual combination. You have to present yourself to get the ball in the first place, and then have the guys to get it to you at the right time. Knocked away by Gardner.
Gardner with that little hesitation in the run, which indicates that cramp might be coming back a little bit on him. Another step.
And this is by the other Lawrence, Pat Lawrence. And that was almost identical to what his brother did.
Not good results for Leonard Hamilton in Miami.
I can't believe it. I take one Lawrence out, put the other in, he does the same thing. 59-40. A long-range 3 for Brian Fair.
Big lead makes it easier to shoot that shot.
The lead is now 22. Fair, the player of the year in Arizona.
Fabulous defense by Connecticut, though. Very, very alert, helping one another.
And Ward either got an elbow or something in his left eye. We mentioned the player of the year, Brian Fair, in Arizona. They also had the player of the year from Pennsylvania, and Danielle Marshall. And they are missing another player of the year, the young man by the name of Rudy Johnson, who is out with a knee and probably will not play this entire year. So they had 8 outstanding freshmen in this class, and 6 are contributing.
Anytime you can put player of the year after 3 players, you've done a nice job of recruiting. There's the wide open 3 for Burton.
And Burton nails it. His second 3-pointer, 9 points for Burton at 62-43.
Good double screens that time by Miami in the paint.
The first 3 tonight for Scott Burrell. He goes to double figures with 10.
Talk about quick answer backs.
The foul will go on Sellers. Rod picks up number 3. You mentioned that's only the 3rd team foul against the Huskies, so they have plenty to give with 9:14 remaining in the game.
It's amazing that their defense has been so good without picking up the needless foul and the careless foul.
Constantine Popa has been on the bench quite a while. Ward against Terreno Walker. Pump fake, gets the shot off, and will go to the line.
Not a popular call, but Ward with a good little ball fake and head fake got Walker off the floor. Just enough to draw the attention of the officials.
Terreno picking up his third foul. A reminder that at the conclusion of this game and during every game televised by the Big East Conference Television Network, Jim and I will be selecting the Infinity Player of the Game. This selection is part of Infinity's sponsorship of Big East basketball. Ward is 4 out of 6 at the line. And nestles in the net. Ward with 5 points all at the line as Scott Burrell takes a break. The junior from Houston has a half a dozen. A 20-point lead for the Huskies of UConn, who will play Illinois on Saturday. Fair for 3. He's got the stroke right now.
And a sign of a well-coached club is when that club gets a big, big lead and they execute and run their offense. Fair, just as you mentioned, starting to warm it up from 3.
23-point lead, the biggest of the night, with 8.5 minutes to go. It's on to St. John's, Seton Hall, and Syracuse for the Hurricanes before they go home.
Does that mean it gets easier?
Well, it doesn't get easier after they get home, come to think of it.
Yeah, that's true.
Popa comes back in the ball game. The foul is number 3 on Brian Fair. 15 foul now on the Huskies. We're not in the bonus. Popa, who is back in the lineup, turns and will go to the line.
Sellers wondering what he has to do. He's putting his hands straight up.
That is the 4th foul on Sellers, and I think if you look at Popa, when he becomes more aggressive, maybe puts on some weight and really starts to think offensively, he could be a factor.
Because he has the good hands and he can go left or right, I think with time he will develop that. Has pretty good work habits in terms of wanting to learn his position, learn the game better and better. So 2-3 years down the road, I think you'll have a nice find here with Popa.
Sarulik has replaced Sellers as Popa hits the foul shot.
The assistant was telling a story about him. A little kid came up to him in the airport and asked him how tall he was, and he said the little guy to guess how tall, and the kid said 7'11", and he ended up turning to him and said, no, Circle K. Evidently there's a store down in Miami, Circle K, yeah. So he has a sense of humor.
Circle K's are all over the place down there. Sarulik tries to feed Walker, but he stepped on the baseline, or a foul was called. Was he bumped underneath? Yes, he was. That is 3 on Hammy Ward. 8:05 to play. Coach Jim Calhoun looking for career victory number 357 and his 107th here at UConn. You can take heart, though, if you're Miami. You go back 4 or 5 years ago, this UConn team wasn't this good. They were like Seton Hall, a team that everybody in the Big East loved to play.
And the conference affiliation obviously will help Miami from a recruiting standpoint. It's going to make things a little bit easier, and I really believe that you can't look to jump from the bottom to the top of the heap in 1 or 2 years, but you have to just stick with your plan and set a goal.
That's exactly what Leonard Hamilton says he is going to do. He says, we have this going in the right direction. He said, I know we're going to be successful. Popa against Sarulik. Feeds Gardner along the baseline. Good move with the left hand.
And there was the shovel pass by the big man with the left hand.
Gardner having a problem trying to catch up. Fair, another 3. He has hit 3 in a row. 11 for the freshman from Phoenix, Arizona.
He's catching up quickly on the 3s. See, that's a resurface of the cramp, I believe, with Gardner. They usually come back. I remember when I was a freshman in college, John, I used to get Believe it or not, 4 cramps at one time. 2 in the thighs and 2 in the calves.
They dragged you off the court.
Literally, they did. They used to take me underneath the bleachers in the student section. It's a good thing I wasn't a horse.
It would have been all over for you.
I wouldn't be here.
A 22-point lead for the Huskies of Connecticut with 7.5 minutes left in the game. Polka turn toward the baseline and turns it over.
His eagerness to go a little too quickly.
And then, of course, feeling Cerulic moving up along the baseline, you kind of hesitate and have no place to go.
But I think those instincts that he has right there, even though it's a turnover, it's a mistake, still showing the instincts of catching the basketball, looking to be aggressive to score. That'll come with time.
You see the points off turnovers, 22 of them. That is the exact difference in the ballgame. 22 points. Popo pokes it away. It's out of bounds, and the Huskies will keep it. 27 seconds on the shot clock. 7:07 on the game clock, and then time to update this opening night for the Big East regular season. Syracuse is now leading Boston College by 12. So the Eagles coming back a bit. They were down early. Pitt hanging on against Seton Hall as Carlissimo's club making a comeback. And St. John's leading by 11 in the second half over Villanova. Smith against Scott with 7 minutes to go in the game. Cerulic has really slimmed down as he gets the feed into Burrell, but he'll go back to Fair. Can it be 4 in a row? No, but the follow is there from Danielle Marshall.
Inside, outside, very patient. They get a good shot. When you get good shots, your offensive rebounders can go to work because they can anticipate.
And automatically that defense goes to work. Morton with penetration. Cerulic knocks it away.
Just too tough defensively, Connecticut.
And Cerulic, trying to get his reward, traveled. He was out of control, and Burrell wanted to set him up with the pass. You look at the new look of Cerulic, who's played here for 4 years. He's worked so hard. He's been a role player in this program and really stepping up when he gets his opportunity in his senior season.
And that one right there, that ball, he was open, but he wasn't ready. His mind, I'm sure he said, no, don't give it to me now. Uh-oh, here it comes.
Cerulic, a crowd favorite here in Storrs, Connecticut. The beautiful Gamble Pavilion, which is sold out. One of the brightest arenas you'll ever play in. They were telling us before the ball game that some of the engineers who put the lighting in asked them why they had it set on 5, which was maximum. Good move by Scott to score the basket. They designed it to be maybe 3 or 4, but they turn on all the lights here.
The white ceiling here also makes it nice and bright.
73-51. Scott has 14 points to lead the scoring tonight for Miami. He was the team's leading scorer coming in. Fair, who's been hot with the trays, to Sellers. Marshall controls along the baseline and throws it away, but Miami touched it last.
The high-low game a little bit more effective for Connecticut, looking to get their passes, and that's because the big man is brought all the way out to 17 feet. If you can get it by him, you have some shot down low, scoring easy.
Kaiserman will check in for Miami when we come back with 5:43 remaining, and UConn leading by 22 at home in the Big East opener. We are back in Storrs, Connecticut, 73-51. Some of the troops moving around this fine arena in its 3rd year of operation. Burrell with a feed underneath, thrown away. Morton comes up with a loose ball.
Sellers was looking shot, wasn't looking for basketball.
This is Jim Kaiserman, a transfer from Rider College out of Abington, Pennsylvania. We talk about great basketball backgrounds. He's got it, doesn't he?
He sure does. Grandson of Harry Litwack, who we send our best to down in Florida.
Smith will go to the line. He is fouled on the play by Kaiserman. Jim picks up his first personal foul. Harry Litwack, the legendary coach at Temple. Morton comes out, Scott back in. Kaiserman is a walk-on, number 22 there at the right of your picture, who 2's a good number to put on his back because he's a 2-handicap golfer.
He was telling me before that he's looking to take a shot at going pro golfing. I'm saying if 2 is a handicap, that's not a bad opportunity right there for admittedly saying he doesn't spend a whole lot of time playing golf.
Anthony Lawrence comes out. His brother Pat takes his spot on the court.
What's the problem with that is you get guys that shoot those little bitty numbers every week out there.
Exactly. I'd take it though.
Points now for Smith, who's averaging, as Burrell is, just under 20. Scott has 10 tonight, Walker with a dozen, and Rod Sellers with 13. So it's been balanced scoring-wise. Brian Fair has chipped in 11 for him, a new collegiate high. Smith got a piece of it, but the Canes keep it going.
Once again, the pass is just going really east to west, though. Clock winding down.
Pat Lawrence with some penetration along the baseline, and Burrell the rebound.
Taking the time off the clock. Connecticut will be happy with the passes going from one side to the other.
Burrell steps down the lane, leans to the shot. It rattles but won't go. Swaby a rebound. Popa against Sellers. Left-hand hook. Sellers a rebound. Smith will take it all the way.
Once again, no one from Miami picking Smith up. He's done that 3 times tonight. Has had clear lanes to the basket.
Biggest lead of the ball game now. It's a 25-point difference. 76-51. Scott cuts it by 3.
Brian Fair looking around at Smith. He's wondering who's supposed to be guarding him. I think he was.
That is 3 3-pointers in the ball game now for Scott. 76-54. 3:50 to go in the ball game, and the Huskies content now to take some time off the clock. Move their offense way out in front.
Where you usually get a backdoor opportunity. There's Smith, who had one.
There's the backdoor. Marshall slams it.
Very, very patient. Number 5 in the country. They're showing why.
11 for Donyell Marshall. 6 players for Connecticut now in double figures. Here comes Pat Lawrence. Swaby gets the basket, his first of the night.
Shows you the difference between high school scoring and conference scoring in a conference like Big East.
There's a big, big difference.
Averaged 47 a game last year.
Now, one of the things we talked about again, you bring in the 6 freshmen, work them into your rotation, but a rotation that has Walker, Sellers, Smith, and Burrell. They don't have that luxury at the University of Miami. Popa has the steal. Scott gets the basket. They wanted the goaltending call. Coach Hamilton wants timeout, but gives Scott the basket. He's got 19.
Not sure if Popa hit that basketball anyway. It was obviously in the cylinder, but I think his hand came up a little short.
Popa has 8 points in the ballgame, 19 for Scott. 78-58. Here comes Smith. From behind, he's grabbed by Scott. That is the first foul of the night on Jerome Scott, the senior from Herndon, Virginia. A 20-point lead. Connecticut has never trailed, and throughout most of the first half and throughout most of the ball game, from about the 5-minute mark on, they've had at least a double-figure lead. Miami did cut it to an 8-point difference with about a minute to go in the first half. And Smith will go back to the line as both teams now will go to the bench with 2:23 to play.
I thought their strengths came out pretty strongly here in that 10-minute mark or so in the second half. Defensive pressure, never letting up. They had basically a 20-point lead for about 12 minutes and just never let up. Relentless on the defensive end.
Six out of 8 for Chris Smith as he hits the 20-point mark for Coach Calhoun. And 21 now for the senior from Bridgeport, Connecticut. It's been a key for Coach Calhoun is to keep the players in the state of Connecticut from going someplace else. They picked up some good ones. And they've expanded that recruiting to places like California, Washington, Arizona, Florida.
Now, if you can keep the in-staters and also do that good a job on the out-of-staters.
Scott's shot goes out of bounds with 2:01 to play. We have Richie Ashmead, who was a highly recruited player 2 years ago coming out of high school in the top 60 in the country, went to prep school and is now a freshman. And a hand for Chris Smith, who leads with 21 points. So with the exception of Sellers, we've got a whole gob of freshmen out there. Off the body of Ollie and out of bounds with 1:51 to go. So UConn, despite scoring only 37 in the first half, has it up in the 80s. It's 80-58. Swaby has it batted away.
Lost the sweatband in the process.
Now Scott picks up the loose ball. Samar Logan, for the first time, hits a 2, and that is the first time tonight, I think, that Logan has been on the court.
It is. Surprised that he hasn't got any more time.
Batted away by Logan, out of bounds, and Samar from East Orange, New Jersey, picks up his first foul. Well, the Huskies about to go to 9-0. For them, their best start since the 1980-81 season, when they went 11-0 to start the year. They had a team in the 85-86 season that opened 8-0. But that team won only 4 games the rest of the season. And they started playing Big East basketball, and it was downhill. Donnie Marshall to the line. Back after missing 2 games with a thigh injury. From Federal Way, Washington. Kevin Ollie, the freshman guard, is from Los Angeles, California. Brian Fair is from Phoenix.
They're going to be very, very difficult to beat at home, and also as these young guys, young kids on this team progress through the months of January and February. 1 or 2 of them will get much better than the others and probably add a whole lot to this Connecticut depth.
Donyell Marshall kept it alive, but was fouled on the play inside. The foul goes on Hammy Ward. He has picked up 4. We have 1 minute and 20 seconds remaining to be played. This will be a 2-shot foul as the Canes are +10 for the second half. Pat Lawrence checks into the lineup, and Donyell Marshall, who's 1 for 2 at the line, 11 points in the game. He has 11. Terreno Walker with 12. Rod Sellers 13. Chris Smith 21. Scott Burrell 10. And Brian Fair 11. The Big East Rookie of the Week for this week. A high school All-American. As we mentioned, the Player of the Year in the state of Pennsylvania, out of Reading. He has 13 points tonight, back to a 22-point lead in the final minute and 15 seconds.
Just a matter of focus for him as a young player, focusing on how good he wants to be and how much you work at it. Let's go freshman.
Well, they've got a great crop, certainly among the best in the country is one of them. Marshall rips it to the other one, and laying it home is Willingham, the freshman from Atlanta, Georgia. Nantambu Willingham in the lineup gets the basket. 84-60. We're in the final 35 seconds of the ball game. Kaiserman tries to go inside, scramble for the ball, and we have a traveling violation. Let's talk about our Infinity Player of the game. It's not the player who scored the most points tonight, but for UConn, a guy who did a terrific job at both ends of the court. 12 points, 8 rebounds, and 5 steals, and he gets our Infinity Player of the game.
And I thought that last stat, the 5 steals, just helping to highlight what Connecticut has done from a defensive standpoint, especially here in the second half. Score probably not indicative of how competitive this game was in the first half, even though both teams didn't shoot the ball well, but a big time blowout here with Connecticut defensively.
Jammed home down inside by Pat Lawrence. That's his first basket of the game. Morton goes for the steal, and with 8.7 to go, picks up the foul. Jake Morton, the redshirt junior from Bowie, Maryland, who missed last year with an injury, picks up the foul. He's
seen quite a bit of playing time because of Michael Gardner's apparent cramp problems tonight in the leg. Kevin Ollie goes to the line with a chance to score his first points. Ollie is a foul shooter this year. Is 11 out of 14.
Nice to know when you're in a blowout game with Connecticut, Coach Calhoun, the opportunity to put 5 young players out there who are hungry for playing time. You know, it's not showtime. They're looking to impress.
Morton tracks down the rebound. 85-62. That's the last shot of the game. Jim Calhoun's Huskies are still undefeated. The number 5 ranked team in the nation opens the 1992 Big East regular season with a victory. And for Leonard Hamilton, the Canes' debut in Big East play winds up in an 85-62 defeat. We'll be back to wrap it up here in Storrs, Connecticut, after we take a final break. Again, the final UConn 85, Miami 62. Stay with us. We're coming right back.
And I think the thing also, John, about the UConn team right now is probably not in terms of rating their offensive show tonight. Not a great offensive show, but a team that is well coached, hits the boards very hard, and also plays that aggressive defense will find themselves in a lot of basketball games. Tonight, just a little too much depth for Miami to really come back in this second half.
6 Huskies in double figures, led by Chris Smith with 21 points. For Miami, the leading scorer tonight was Jerome Scott, who had 19. Along with Jim Spanarkel, I'm John Sanders. Again, our final score tonight in Gamble Pavilion, UConn 85 and Miami 62.
Perhaps best describes UConn's performance. Workmanlike. Tonight in Storrs, the 5th-ranked Huskies open their Big East schedule with a 23-point win over conference newcomer Miami. In the opening half, Donyell Marshall misses, but Rod Sellers cleans up. And it's 21-11 UConn, 13 points, 9 rebounds for Sellers. Chris Smith led the Huskies in scoring with 21. He makes it a 28-16 lead here. Late in the half, freshman Brian Fair connects for 2 of his 11, 35-25. It was 37-25 at the half. Second half, Scott Burrell inside to Terreno Walker, 45-33 Huskies, 12 points, 5 steals for Walker. Check out this one. The backdoor jam by Donyell Marshall. He had 13, 78-54. UConn wins 85-62 to up its record to 9-0.
Action News 8 Sports presents the Huskies Tonight. Brought to you by AT&T and by Pizza Hut.
Hi, everyone. I'm Bob Picozzi, and welcome to Huskies Tonight, our first of 7 late-night wrap-up shows following some of the key Big East games on the UConn basketball schedule. And tonight, the Huskies opened that Big East schedule against the new kids on the block, the Hurricanes of Miami. And the game was televised live here on Channel 8. The 5th-ranked and undefeated Huskies looking to make it 9-0. Check out the defensive work by Scott Burrell. He rejects Jerome Scott. And this time, the junior from Hamden does it at the other end. A follow-up jam job. UConn 11, Miami 4. UConn 6 players in double figures tonight. Rod Sellers, one of them. Reverse layup, 13-point lead, 24-11. Terreno Walker had a big night. 12 points and 5 steals. Makes it 30-16 UConn here. And freshman Donyell Marshall also contributes. Baseline jumper, UConn by 12 at the half, 37-25. Second half, Chris Smith with the runners. The senior from Bridgeport led the Huskies with 21, 41-25. This time Smitty again. He'll hit the layup, draw the foul, make the free throw. 57-40 UConn. Freshman Brian Fair off the bench to score 11. Three-pointer here, 68-45. And the Huskies of Jim Calhoun coast home from there to beat Miami by 23. 85-62. UConn now a perfect 9-0, 1-0 in the Big East. Let's take a look at some of the scoring leaders for Miami. Jerome Scott had 19 points, Trevor Burton with 9, and Michael Gardner with 9 for UConn. Smith with 21, 13 for Donyell Marshall. Scott Burrell had 10 points, 9 rebounds, and 7 assists, 11 for Brian Fair. Terreno Walker with a big ball game. He had 12 points and also 5 steals. And Rod Sellers with 13 points and 9 rebounds. As always, a sellout crowd on hand tonight in the stands and along press row. Ken Strayhorn joins us live on the action cam from Gamble Pavilion. Ken, I guess it went pretty much the way everyone expected.
Yeah, Bob, everyone pretty much expected a blowout, and that's what happened. An interesting game nonetheless, though. For the University of Miami, they really only had two players that presented any problems to UConn. That was their senior guard, Jerome Scott. He finished the night with 19 points. The only player in double digits for the University of Miami. And Constantine Pupa from Bucharest, Romania, he gave them a problem because he's 7'3", and all he had to do was lift his arms, and that made UConn players have to alter their shots. But other than that, no problems at all for the University of Connecticut. You know, Bob, even that, though, despite that, the players for the University of Connecticut went into the locker rooms with a big win, but they still didn't think they played very well.
I mean, I think we played a little sluggish tonight, but, you know, we came out on top by 20, so we're happy with that. We played a little sluggish. And in the Big East, you got to keep up your aggressiveness and keep playing hard, because in the Big East, anything can happen. They can come out and start hitting threes, and you never know what's going to happen after that.
The running jump hook, though, was something that I haven't seen you do before.
You know, it's been in my repertoire for like 2 or 3 years. You know, I've been working on it. But tonight was a chance. I had a chance to use it because he kind of had me out the lane. And, you know, he's tall, so I wanted to get around him kind of quickly and just get it off before he had a chance to block it.
I think we were satisfied because we got a win, but we wasn't really satisfied probably with the way we played and stuff. But, you know, we'll just go out there tomorrow, work hard, and go for the next game on Saturday.
The big thing is, though, is that this UConn basketball team is now 9-0, still unbeaten, the 15th ranked team in the country. The biggest thing you heard on the sidelines tonight, particularly from the fans, was let them play. They were referring to the officials who called a lot of fouls tonight, and that, as a result, wouldn't let either team get themselves into the flow of the game, Bob.
Quick question. Miami, first test tonight in the Big East. Any feeling from the UConn players afterward what kind of a club Miami has? Just how much will they struggle in the conference?
Yeah, Bob, they felt like they might struggle quite a bit because they didn't feel like they were really a Big East caliber team. They didn't feel like they got the bump and grind that Big East teams normally give to them. So it might be a problem for Miami.
All right, Kenny, thank you very much. Nice job tonight.
All right,
and
Bob.
Straight ahead on Huskies tonight, there were 3 other Big East openers. We'll have highlights and scores, plus a look at the conference.